Rage 2 is definitely an id shooter. The furious bordering on ridiculous pace, the bulging oversized guns, that blood-spattered feedback designed to keep you pushing. But there's a whole other developer working on this that we haven't heard nearly as much from yet. My hands-on demo is a 10-minute run through an abandoned space center, now overrun with the Mohawk-laden Goon Squad faction we got acquainted with in the first trailers. I play it 4 times. It's a fetch quest of sorts, except what you're fetching is an orbiting building that you need to crash into the neon pink-lit desert. The gauntlet to get to your goal is essentially a spiral staircase punctured with kill rooms, a corridor structure that'll be familiar to anyone who's played an id production. Combat is a constantly shifting cocktail of gunplay, utilities, and abilities. The primary weapons we were shown err on the side of normal, but they manage the balance of silly and precise very nicely, feeling powerful but never out of control. It's a follow-up in formula to Doom. You're clearly a cut above the cannon fodder trying to kill you, but they will kill you if you give them half a chance. Even weaker enemies can soak up a fair few bullets before they drop, and perhaps my only criticism is they don't react quite enough to taking a hit right now, making it harder to prioritise targets in busier scenes. The utilities come in the form of grenades, pretty ordinary, and Rage's trademark wingstick that can now lock onto enemies and tear through them before flitting back to you like some blood-soaked pet bat. Except when it just gets stuck in someone's face and explodes. Most interesting are Rage 2's nanotrite abilities. I'm presented with 2. Slam is a ground pound that sends victims flying into the air, perfect for building up Bulletstorm-like chains of attacks, but better is Shatter, which is essentially a force push from Star Wars, albeit a force push that has a tendency to make people burst when they hit walls. These are aggressive, close quarters moves, a clear mandate for how you're meant to play the game, and that's borne out by the final piece of the puzzle. Kill enough people and kill them quickly enough, and you'll earn what amounts to your ultimate, Overdrive, which could equally be called the Doom Guy button. Every attack becomes stronger, every enemy drops better loot, and you begin to regenerate health. It's dumb and gross and glorious. Yes, this is truly an id shooter, but rather sadly, I still don't know if it's a quintessential Avalanche open world as well. Rage 2's pitch is intoxicating. The best FPS designers in the business partnering with a studio that made its name crafting endlessly compulsive worlds. It feels strange then that we're given no hint as to the scale or style of that world in our demo, although we do get a few hints in a hands-off presentation beforehand. For a start, the promise that this won't be a post-apocalypse of sand, rocks and nothing else rings true. It's Tim Willits says the first Rage was his studio making brown better than anyone else, and it's clear he doesn't want to repeat that feat. The short section of open world we see outside of my hands-on demo does live up to that fact. It's probably a wider colour palette used in a minute than in the entirety of the original Rage. It certainly doesn't look like Mad Max, Avalanche's last devastated world either, although it's not abandoning that game's good ideas. Where the original Rage's vehicle sections had an air of floaty kart racing about them, the short section I've seen from the sequel looks encouraging. Mad Max's cars had real heft to them, making smashes and scrapes look and feel devastating. Rage 2's vehicles are altogether more sophisticated than Max's rust buckets, and come with multiple auto-targeting weapons, but they definitely look as though they drive similarly. But there's so much more we still don't know. The developers say we can head anywhere in the open world from the beginning of the game, but the fundamentals of exploration are still a mystery. We don't know how the map is revealed, how quests are given and discovered, and, perhaps most importantly for an Avalanche game, how much mileage there is in simply messing around with the game's colliding systems. Those waiting to know if there's a Just Cause style grappling hook item will need to keep waiting. It feels strange for a game with 2 such distinctive sides to only show us one, but at least it's a very encouraging side. id's influence is already extremely clear, but I'd want to see how Avalanche's experience is paying off before I guess at what Rage 2 will be like as a completed whole. If you want to know more about Rage 2, we've got a whole video about how id and Avalanche came to work together, or you can just watch the gameplay trailer for a few more explosions.